So you were brought into Warner almost 3 years ago. You're the only head of a major music company who's not a lifelong music person. You're a little bit of an outsider, and I assume that's one of the reasons that Len Blavatnik, the owner, and the board wanted you, because they felt like music was going through a transitional moment. So I want to start with, having been in the job 3 years, seen where music's at, what do you think is the biggest way the music business is going to change in the next few years, and what are you doing at Warner to make sure that you benefit from that?
So, by the way, my predecessor was also
an outsider. Yeah, I know.
Outsider, so I'm not unique. So let's be a little bit modest about it. I think, look, we're going through a lot of change in the industry. Not ourselves, everybody is. The really big change for music is that after many years of growth only through subscriber growth, that now we're also going through pricing increases. Right, so it's not only just volume in terms of subscribers, but also price, which has not been the case in the previous 15 years. I said this first day on the job. You now see it happening all around, and you'll see more of that. So that's exciting. And I think, too, for us, I'm really bullish on AI overall to drive the industry further. And if you think about every new technology has generally benefited copyright holders in major ways. Sometimes there are waves of how you get to it.
Is that really, do you think people in the music business would say that the internet benefited copyright holders?
Well, if you look at it over the long term, it has, right? If you look at the multiples that people pay to acquire copyrights, they're the highest that they've ever been. So the answer is yes. Copyright is more valuable than ever, at least for music.
Right.
So it has benefited us. We have 700, at the end of 2024, we had 750 million paying subscribers around the world. That number continues to grow. Goldman's predicting that by 2030, it's going to be well over 1 billion. If you combine that with, driving ARPU up, it's a healthy industry. But I think the X factor...
ARPU, average revenue per user.
Average revenue per user, yes. This is a smart audience.
Come on.
See, he's doubting you. He's doubting you.
Look, we got some analysts in the front row who I know what ARPU means. I don't know that everybody in the audience knows what ARPU means.
If you think about AI, I think of it the same way user-generated content 15, 17 years ago came in. It was a source of major friction between the open platforms like YouTube, where I used to work, and the copyright holders. And at that time, we just took what was a major friction and lawsuits, et cetera, and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I think, that was underpinned, obviously, by something called Content ID, which tracked the copyright and helped apportion the money. But I think of AI as that on steroids, and we just need to figure it out correctly so that, we all participate the right way.
Okay, I was going to get to AI later, but since you brought it up, let's just go right in. Right. So you say it's going to be a good thing. At the same time, all the record labels are suing Udio and Suno, which are sort of the two big audio AI companies. So why sue them? And how do you think that lawsuit ends?
So there's a very important sentence that we have, which is we reserve our options and we reserve our rights every time something new is happening. Our strategy around this is 3 L's: license, legislate, and litigate. In that order, preferably. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes they get mixed up, but those 3 are important. We always prefer to license. If we can set up the right outcomes, then of course licensing is amazing, and you do that, and we're always open for business. Legislate is important because if you don't have the right construct legislatively, then it's really hard to do licensing agreements in general. And litigate is when everything else fails. So, but sometimes it's upside down in terms of the order.
Yeah. So what, in terms of licensing, what does a good AI licensing deal look like? What is most important to a company like yours?
The best way to think about it is you have to think about a couple of things. One, which is you have to think about the input, and then you think about the outputs. On the input side, it's for training. We maintain that if you want to train on our content, you have to license it, which is the source of our lawsuits, obviously, that you have to license it.
And it seems like most of the AI companies, whether it's Suno, Udio, or OpenAI, do not feel that way.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it works out. That is the point. But we believe that it is absolutely, and we've maintained that is the right way forward. So that's on the input side. On the output side, there's two different types. One, when the music is sort of generic, so it's not recognizable by any artist. There's no name, image, likeness, and voice implicate in any way, so it's more like generic music. But it's based on training on our content. So for us, that's a new revenue stream. Then there is the type of music that implicates name, image, likeness, and voice, and that is very much similar to how UGC worked. And I think there are constructs for it. Obviously, need to change a little bit, but but we can copy a lot of that.
And so you think that AI music, rather than replace, you think that AI will expand the pie rather than replacing some of what you already have? Because if people are choosing to listen to AI music, doesn't that mean they're not listening to Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, Cardi B?
So I'll tell you how we're putting our money where our mouth is. We believe that in the world of AI, branded, big, recognizable music will become more valuable. There'll be a lot more music, and there'll be a lot more unrecognizable music, which will increase the noise and frustration and all of that. But we believe that music from big stars, recognizable music, sort of branded IP and music from stars, will actually be more valuable. We believe it so much that us and our partners at Bain Capital have put together $1.2 billion JV to buy copyrights just like that. So It's not just us believing it. We have really smart people on Wall Street who believe.
Have you guys announced a deal yet?
No, not yet. But stay tuned.
When are you going to get that Chili Peppers deal done?
Stay tuned, Lucas.
One last AI one, and then we can move on. What % of your acts right now do you think are already using some kind of AI tool?
I wouldn't know the percentage. It's hard to track.
Okay, let's go quartiles. You think more than half?
I really couldn't answer. I don't know. We're making it up.
You talked about pricing. How much do you think Spotify should cost?
Alex, listen. I don't want to tell others how much they should charge for their products. What I can tell them is how much we charge for our product to them, and they can decide what to do. I think the big change that I have adopted is that instead of thinking about everything retroactively, which is we hope that they will increase price and therefore something good will happen for us, I think about it more prospectively, which is, look, this is what our product costs into the future, and you decide how you price your product on a retail basis, right? We can determine retail prices anyway.
Sure.
So
how do you, maybe you feel like you're answering, but one of the things I've never understood on pricing being one of the big levers for you is you have a lot of the opportunities you have for growth right now, I feel like are not ones that the labels really control, because you're sort of relying on the platforms, your partners, to do things.
Yeah, I don't think you understood my question. Answer.
Okay.
What else is we control our retail.
I understood your right, but if you go to your point, you can't go to Alex, who's the new co-CEO of Spotify, and say our retail price is $13 a month.
No, but there is a price. It's not that number, but there is a retail price, which is a number.
Yeah. And you feel like you have enough leverage to consistently push it up?
Look, all of us in the media industry on all sides is everybody always wants to take a little bit more from the other one. It's always the same.
Sure.
And so everybody is always trying to drive up scale in order to have more leverage, whether it's more users or more content, et cetera. So we have to do our job to grow our share of music, which is we have actually increased our market share by 1 percentage point over the last 12 months, which is incredible, while we were dominating in the charts, with amazing talent like Alex Warren and Samber and Raven Lené, et cetera, lots of homegrown talent being number 1 and number 2 globally on Spotify. So tremendous amount of success. So we have to do that. At the same time, we have to increase the value of music through our wholesale relationship with our partners and become more efficient at the same time so that we can reinvest into music and drive the flywheel. So we've been delivering on that, and it's been an incredible year in terms of, Warner Records and Atlantic are both absolutely white hot, on fire. It has not happened in 25 years. It was either one or the other. We actually have both engines firing on all cylinders.
Why? Because you guys have broken a lot of new acts. Do you feel like you're getting the proper recognition on Wall Street, though? Because you guys still trade at a much lower multiple than Universal.
Sure. We are working on the recognition, as you can imagine. Look, the proof is, what I can do is point to our chart share on Spotify 200, where we're the number 2 record label in the world in that.
Yeah.
Despite our smaller size in general. Growing our market share, obviously, is important. So all of it in due course.
Yeah.
We've accomplished all of that while going through incredibly invasive and difficult changes in the company, which just shows you that you can do really, really hard things while grow and become more successful at the same time, which most people don't generally believe.
Right.
And I'm really proud of our employees to actually have delivered on that during our year, and it's very exciting to do that.
I want to get, the word invasive is provocative, but are there opportunities for your company, when you say increasing the value of music, in areas that are sort of tangential to music, whether you've talked about superfan, social, gaming, film and TV. Do you see any real big growth opportunities there, or are you more focused on the core?
We're very much focused on the core. We're looking at all of these adjacencies that you're talking about, but precisely for the reason that you said, which is we have to make sure that we deliver stability, stable growth, stable earnings growth. We're focused a lot on the core, while at the same time starting to build sort of adjacent areas that can help expand the business.
Right. So when are you going to announce your Slate deal with Netflix?
I'm not sure whether you heard that, so obviously I cannot confirm anything. But if you step back and think about this, it makes a lot. Our company has tremendous catalog: Prince, Madonna, Fleetwood Mac. It just goes on and on and on. The stories that we have are incredible, and they haven't really been told. We're like Marvel for music. That's where we are, and it will be unlocked. And so it makes a lot of sense for us to partner with a company that can bring it to life all around the world. And it's exciting both for acts who are no longer with us, but we make their estates happy and satisfied, but also for acts who are with us, who then can actually help bring young audiences to the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So, if you talk about it in principle.
Do you have a dream music documentary that you want to see?
Well, there's no way I can answer that question.
Like choosing between your children?
Exactly.
Okay, do you have a favorite recent one that you've seen?
Favorite recent one? I haven't watched one lately.
I really I thought the Led Zeppelin one was great.
Oh yeah, that actually, yes.
And I think that is a Warner family artist.
That is right. That is right.
Your company is controlled by one of the wealthiest people in the world, Len Novotny, generally press-averse. I'm just curious because he doesn't do a lot of talking. He comes to your parties, but doesn't really talk about Warner that much. What is he like as a boss?
This is like 360 review without the person, which makes it very easy. He's one of the most successful investors in the world. The reason I say that is because he has built huge amounts of value across multiple different industries. Most people generally do it in one industry and that blows up really big. Len has done it across 4 or 5 different industries. So it just tells you there is an incredible investor and knows how to spot patterns and act accordingly. He also invests for the long term, right? Which is obviously his intention with Warner. So we're the largest holding. He's incredibly proud of the asset and wants to make sure that we succeed both economically and culturally, and have a really large impact on the world. He's very involved in the business. We talk frequently. He has a lot of opinions and a lot of advice. And I have to admit that he's more right than wrong, which, I wish I could win the arguments more.
Yeah.
But he's very good. So I do listen quite a lot.
And how do you compare? Because his son is also getting super involved. So how do you compare father and son?
That's the benefit. If you grow up in a family like that, you learn a lot from young age. And so Val has a lot of benefit of learning from his dad and basically being the apprentice from the cradle.
Yeah. I have to ask you about another famous son, because you talked about how well Atlantic is doing. You recently, or not in the last year or so, promoted Elliot Grange to run Atlantic. He is the son of your biggest competitor.
Who's that?
I think his name is, yeah. I can put it no more delicate way than, are you insane?
Yes. No. Look, doing the true and tried things is boring. Everybody does those. If you're in an industry that's changing, if you're in a world with lots of crosswinds, you have to do daring things. We do it with our reorganizations. We do it with choices that we make, et cetera. So that's one of the things that I wanted in the company, is that it's not afraid to be first, it's not afraid to be daring, it's not afraid to break the mold. Elliot's appointment is one of those things. We bought 51% of his company a couple of years ago. So he kind of onboarded into the company because I was looking for, what is the young talent that is very digitally native, understands music really well, is extremely passionate, but can learn how to operate inside a large company. We were able to kick the tires for a year, right, and work in there, and then appoint him. Since then, he's done lots of big changes at Atlantic. And as he was doing, just like with Warner overall, he's grown market share, he's broken in the charts, done incredible campaigns for lots of artists. The Marias are a really great example of that. So I've been incredibly happy and proud of what Elliot has accomplished. And I wish for him what every father wishes for his son, which is that he's more successful than his father.
You talked about, one of the things that was important that you referred to him with was digitally native. I feel like when you took the job, it was at the point where if you talked to anyone in the music business, they said that TikTok was basically where everything broke. Where do you see TikTok's power in the music business now? And is there anything that has sort of come up to challenge it as the most kind of prominent place for discovery?
So, by the way, I never really believed that, whenever people are saying it, even years back, because a little bit more of the randomness of the algorithm, which serves TikTok really well, but it's good for spikes, but maybe not for stability. So if you're a company like ours, you're looking for building a career for somebody, not a one-off hit. And that is really hard to achieve on a algorithm that's much more random. So I never actually believed that as a discovery platform.
Well, does that mean you didn't believe it as a discovery, or more as that you couldn't build lasting success?
Lasting success.
Yeah.
Lasting success. But but discovery kind of follows that, right? Because if you just have like a one-off random hit, like what you look for is people who can connect on a regular basis with their audiences, not just one-off.
Sure.
I'm not saying that it's not there, but it's just, in general, it's much harder to do it that way. There are a lot of, I'll tell you a quick anecdote, which is, when I meet with different A&R execs, young folks, some of their methods are very true and tried, which is go to live shows, watch the audience rather than the act, and see how the audience is reacting to the artist. And if there's a connection, said there is something to it. Now we can work on the art and develop them as an artist, because the connection is incredibly important. And Cardi B was an example of that, right? And if you want to build a superstar, that audience has to be, for women, has to be teen girls. That's where it all begins. And if it's males, it's teen girls. It's like the key to success. So it's a very analog way of doing it, but it's proven to work really well in today's world.
Are we happy with the new Cardi B record?
Very. Yes, very. It's been great.
When it comes to when you,
by the way, again, another great Atlantic campaign around the record.
She was everywhere on social.
She was
media.
everywhere on social.
When your executives find an artist, or when you're meeting with an artist, like there are more different companies competing to sign artists than ever, really. Whether it's distribution companies, major labels, independents. I think there's a perception among some that there's a lot of the roles that a label once fulfilled, the artists can do themselves. They can do with their management. So, what do you say to an artist as for why they need a label, and does the extent of that competition make the economics, even when you do sign them, more challenging?
Yeah. So the world is changing a lot. In the world where anyone can publish, so fully democratized distribution. I like to say in a world where everyone can publish, no one can be heard because the noise level is so high and it's so hard to break through the clutter. And suddenly you need an army and an infrastructure to actually do that on a global basis if you want to do it on a sustained basis. So that's one. I am a very big believer in large-scale company, especially in the music business. That may be counter to what everyone else believes, but I'm more convinced of that than I was 3 years ago. If you want to negotiate with large platforms, it's very hard if you do it on your own or as part of a small company. If you want to negotiate the future of AI and how things are handled, it is very hard to be a David versus Goliath. You need a large company behind you. If you want to break through the clutter, have a marketing team all around the world, unleashing you on the world, you need a large company. We are entering the stage where being part of a company like ours is more advantageous than not. I understand that the narrative in the marketplace may be different. I'm looking at it from the inside. I live it every day, and I am more convinced of this than ever.
I have one thing on the scale front. So you worked at YouTube, you've negotiated with Spotify. Why do you think, when you look at the tech companies, why have YouTube and Spotify raced so far ahead of Apple and Amazon in music?
You want me to talk about our partners and compare them? I decline to comment. Look, innovation, right? Again, I can speak more for YouTube than for Spotify. I did not work at Spotify. I worked at YouTube. There's a lot of people, a lot of different teams who are focused on building products, innovating, and constantly pushing themselves. It's not stopping. And I know anecdotally, I see that at Spotify as well, but not from the inside. So I think if you look at it from a product standpoint, there's just been more focus on innovation around it than in the other companies. That's it. It just comes down to that.
One last question to sort of tie us off where we started. What do you think will look most different about a record label 5 years from now?
I think we will, and I don't mean just us, but in general, there will be full service companies. Today, if you go around...
So what is an example of something that you don't offer now that you think you would?
Today, we don't offer management. We don't offer live promotion. There's a lot of services like that we're not in the business of here in the United States.
Right. Very common in Asia and other markets.
Yeah, including our company. Right? So we provide those services. We are the hub for the artists of their universe, and we service them in every regard. And, whether it's in certain countries in Europe and many countries in Asia, US, UK are kind of the exceptions to that. And I think that's going to change because you're seeing that with obviously lots of smaller companies happening. There's no reason it wouldn't be happening with the larger companies. And, it's about building the brand for the artist and developing the best possible way to then unleash the brand on the world and monetize the brand. And it's better, in my opinion, if it's all unified rather than if it's all fragmented. Again, we're in a world where scale of everything is increasing, complexity of everything is increasing, and increasingly you need larger business on your side handling things like this for you. That's my prediction.